give everyone a moment here to join and make sure that the live stream is working here while we're getting set up here. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. Welcome. We're going to be looking at your monthly reading here in just a moment. Little Apollo here, wishing all of us some love and some light this morning. And thank you so much. It's good to see all of you. Let's put this guy down so we can get started. And we'll talk about what's coming through for today. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. This is the monthly reading for Aries. Believe it or not, we're already looking 1 month in advance, so we'll be looking at the next 6 to 8 weeks, which will span both the present, also bringing us into October. And so let's talk a little bit about the format, and then we'll get into the reading. So I always like to begin with channeled messages. And this morning I was actually tuning into volcanic energy. I was shown the Hawaiian Islands and Mauna Loa, I believe is how you say it, but that I was specifically given the name of the volcano, and I just saw the water crashing. So really beautiful. Never worked with that totem, never had that sort of a dream. In fact, what happened was this morning I hit the snooze button on my iPhone as I was trying to get up in the morning, and then for about the extra 10 minutes, that's what I saw myself in. I was in the ocean, and we were connecting with that. So that's a lot of like divine feminine and also fire energy. So that portends good things for this month ahead for you. We'll talk about those channeled messages in a moment, and then we're going to look at the Celtic Cross after that. There's a lot of other sections. We'll get to those as we go along, and just suffice it to say there's a lot in store, and it's hopefully a chance for you to kind of get everything prepared for the month ahead. All right, so please, if you haven't already liked and subscribed, do that. We just hit a milestone. I'd love to hit another. We can do something different on the next milestone. And I try to give back to the community in different ways whenever we hit one of those. So let's keep growing and keep sharing this. And thank you so much for helping me achieve what I've gotten so far. I appreciate it. You can also join me on social media if you would like reminders of when I go live. I usually try to do that 24 hours in advance so that you know when I'm coming on next. My schedule is pretty predictable, by the way. It's every Monday, Thursday, and Friday I read for the monthly signs. Every Sunday I do a collective, and every day I do a one-card pull on YouTube Shorts. So you have a good chance of tuning into whatever length you'd like, whenever you'd like to. Remember, on social media platforms, I don't offer private readings. I don't direct message. If anyone offers product services or pretends to be me, just block or give me a heads up so that you know it's always my name and I'm never going to reach out like that. If you want to show love and support, you can do it through SuperStickers, SuperChat, or any of the built-in features of any of the major platforms, but not through anybody messaging you stuff. I like to keep saying that because I constantly get people saying, "Did you message me?" No. Okay, so that being said, let's get into today's reading. We're going to begin, as I said, with channeled messages. And this morning, it was specifically, it's like Mother Nature wanted me to go back to sleep for just a little bit to receive some of this energy and some of these things. So here we go. Let's put the picture in picture. Oops, sorry, I still have yesterday's up, so 1 second. Let's see, I've got to share the... yesterday we had a Q&A. By the way, if you haven't looked at the Q&A, highly recommend that. The Q&A was a chance for me to go through all of the viewer questions, and basically it's a little bit of intuitive development whenever I do that. So totally worth it here. So here we go. I'm going to share my keynote so you can see that instead. And there we go. And we'll take it into live mode. Okay, so hopefully this works for you. Let's see. Okay. So Mauna Loa came to me in my dreams, and specifically I would say it's the waters around this beautiful volcano. So it was almost as if I was in this cradle of energy, and that's one of the big, it's basically one of the biggest volcanoes on Earth, and it's on the Big Island too. So let's talk a little bit about why this is a beautiful totem for you and what it's going to bring through for you this month. So Hawaiian volcanoes are slightly different than, say, Mount St. Helens or the volcano around Pompeii. They don't necessarily blow their tops. They don't have as much violent sort of eruptions as some of these other ones do. It's more of a constant, steady flow on some of them. There are still destructive energies that come through that sometimes can take out a village. But by and large, when you compare them to other volcanoes, the nature of them is a little bit more gentle. So we're comparing this against others. It's still a destructive and creative force, absolutely. But what I like about it is it also connected to that energy of the water, where it was kind of like constant and moving. So I chose to put the Six of Swords here because it feels like one of your biggest opportunities this month is how to navigate, how to adjust, and how to embrace that movement in your life. And if you can sort of look at this as, you're probably going to have to be juggling a few things. So you may be moving in one direction, letting go of something here, starting something new here. It's that constant process. Creation and destruction often happens together, not separate. And so you may be grieving one thing while you're creating one thing. So if you can try to find a way to stay balanced amidst all of this change, I think that's going to be really, really important. Making waves. So it's an important time to be seen, to be heard, and to make some shifts in your life, because that's where I was focusing. I saw the volcanic energy in the distance, and the main energy was the water. The water meets the lava, and that's where creation occurs, basically. And that's kind of beautiful. It's like a dance of creation, right? So if you can go with the energetic flow, literally we're thinking of lava here, right? If you can go with the flow of that energy, you can be part of the creative process. If you try to go against it, then, or if you try to avoid it, what happens is you become beholden to or dependent upon someone else's decision or someone else's leadership in the matter. So it's a lot more powerful for you to embrace it, step into it, and shape it. And there could be two opposing forces, like the fire and water. So you're going to have to try to find a way not to be frozen like the lava is, to try to push where you need to go and still build, whatever it is that you're trying to build this month. But I got a gentle creative and a gentle releasing sort of energy because of the waters. So I think it's going to be good, whatever you need to do. It's just a matter of embracing it and saying, you know what, I've got this. This is going to be okay. Basically, this is all about construction. So I did some research, as I always do, on the totems, and this is one of the biggest ones on Earth. It makes up over half of the main Hawaiian island, stands up over like 4,170 meters, which is amazingly tall, like over 13,000 feet. And it's higher than Mount Everest if you take it from the base of the ocean floor all the way up. I didn't have time to put this bullet in, but the ocean floor actually kind of is pushed down a little bit by the weight of this volcano, which is amazing. So suffice it to say, if you kind of put your energy into something right now, there's the potential to build something that is strong, that will last, that will be seen. Three of Pentacles is what I chose here because you actually do see like an architect in this particular card. And it shows acclaim or appreciation or positive viewing of whatever work it is that you decide to embark upon. So this is a good time to get busy with respect to going to school, which is great. We're in back to school time right now anyway. But training, education, expansion, all of those things are supported by this energy right now, okay? And you can reach great heights, basically, with this moment in time. Your channel, I chose to put the Ace of Wands here instead of the Magician because I really wanted to connect with the energy of fire. And it reminds me of Pele, which is one of the fire goddesses, creative force. Basically, I think the most difficult thing for you, the most challenging thing, is finding a way to channel the energy that you're receiving in a productive, constructive, and creative way so that it doesn't get in the way of you being able to focus or really be your best. So finding creative outlets, putting time on the calendar to make sure that you're, even if it's kind of getting rid of any stress or whatever, emotions can either fuel or deflate, and we want to allow them to be fueled this month if at all possible. So those are the main messages here. Again, just kind of going back to the beginning one here, which I really love. Gentle, constant changes and movement. If we can kind of ease into them and make peace with the fact that this is a period of change in your life, I think that you'll be pleasantly surprised by what might come through. Okay? All right. Let's take a look at the cards here. I think I may use an old deck that I haven't used in a while, but I'll give you some options. So let's see here. All right, let me turn the camera down and just zoom in for a second on this so we can see a few options for this morning. So this is an older one that I haven't used in a while, Robin Wood. Let's see, we'll pull out Afro Goddess as well. Maybe Wild Unknown and Raven's Prophecy. I think that'll give us a good cross-section for today. So let me continue to put a poll up here and then you guys can vote on that. All right. So let's see what's going on here. Okay. So I'll put a poll up here and then I'll show you a few cards. So Robin Wood, Afro Goddess, Wild Unknown, and Raven Prophecy. Okay, while you're looking at the options to vote, this is the first one. It's an older deck that I haven't used in a while. I just happened to pull it for the daily read, and I thought, well, let's put this out here for option. And then Afro Goddess, beautiful illustrations, lots of great divine feminine energy, which connects with the Volcano, particularly Pele, a nature-based deck, which I always like to pull out here occasionally. So this is Wild Unknown. And then Raven's Prophecy, which is going to have some beautiful images, more simplistic. Definitely there'll be a lot of ravens, appropriate for October as well, even though we're a month ahead because this deck I originally got for Halloween. So anyway, all of these are great. Let's see which one is in the lead and we'll go from there. All right, it looks like Afro Goddess it's a tie actually between these two. All right, so what I'm gonna do is, it's a three-way tie, you guys are funny. All right, I'm going to give you 5 more seconds to cast your votes. We only have 26 votes, so we have 100 people. A few more can tap that and make it an easier decision. Okay, perfect. So it looks like Raven's Prophecy is going to be the winner. Perfect. Okay, thank you for voting, everyone that did vote. All right, let's get started for today. So we're going to look at the Celtic Cross. This Celtic Cross is going to span the next month and a half. And anytime you see this message, that's when you need to hear it, basically, between now and the end of next month. You can use it for Sun, Rising, Moon, or Venus, or any aspect of the chart that you happen to know offhand. You can also stick around until the end if you are watching for Sun, Rising, and Venus, because Sun, Rising, and Moon, because I do tune into those particular areas. Okay, let's let the cards show themselves. I think you'll find this is a beautiful deck. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully your month is getting off to a good start here. You're ready for the weekend ahead. Got some gorgeous cards today. I like what you chose. I like what's coming through. Let's take a quick look at everything. It's very interesting that we have the Four of Swords at the center, so that movement's coming through. Some decisions to be made. Moving away from pain, which we always like. Okay, I like your overall spread. You're headed in the right direction for sure, and you're headed towards more abundance. So I always like to just take a quick look at all of the cards, and I like the overall movement. Okay, let's get started with your catalyst. What is a catalyst if you're brand new? The catalyst is basically one connective thing that's going to it's like a domino, and it starts reactions in the month. And when I read my cards, I like to go back to the catalyst to see, like, what am I doing to step into my power? What am I doing to, if I'm not feeling any progress happening, what can I do to get back there? So we have space. Literally here we see the space between stars coming through here, an empty room. And as you can tell, I've relocated temporarily, at least into this space. And I'm still in my same apartment, but I have a lot of still unpacking to do, and I understand the empty room sort of energy. Empty room, space in general, it gives you room to grow. And it's nice to have space. Sometimes we want to quickly fill the space with things, with people, with like our schedule, with all these agenda items. The empty room card comes through as a reminder that it's important for us to basically hold the space for a bit to figure out, how do I feel in this space? What do I need to work on first? And then let me start to build out a little bit, right? So give yourself ample time to build, to experience, to explore things in this moment in time. And don't worry so much about filling everything up. Filling up the schedule, filling up the bank account, filling up the room, filling up everything. Just be with yourself and decide, what could I do? I would say in this empty room, the card that wants to sort of like get you started would be one of the aces for sure, or like the Seven of Cups. Let's see what the universe has to offer. Where am I at? What do I want? Or the exploration card of the Fool. So have some fun, look around, figure out where you are, what you want, and then take that next step. So basically, we're already into one important card here, which was divine discernment, being picky. So this was in your love area. And then this is also a card of discernment, the Six of Pentacles. You have to weigh things out. So your angels are coming through saying it's a good time to be, it's a nice way to say be picky. Discerning means I'm going to be thoughtful, I'm going to be deliberate, and I'm not afraid to say no if I need to say no to something, right? Let's look at the cards and see how this empty room is going to factor out and what may be stepping into that space. Well, we can already see that there's some energy of partnership and love here with the Two of Cups right off the bat. So I like that. But let's go to the center card first. So as I said, this is a month of movement and change. So the Four of Swords is reversed, and it's saying, before I can move on, I need to let something go. Normally, the Four of Swords is as we pictured it in the channeled messages. It's a person on a boat. Let's show that picture real quick. A person on a boat kind of moving towards their future destination. So of all the movement cards, it is the most gentle. And of all the death or release cards, it's the most gentle. And sometimes time heals everything. So some of you could be getting over a loss, mourning a loss of someone, adjusting to a change. Maybe you had to shift jobs, career, etc. And there's this feeling like, okay, who am I again? What am I if I'm not with this energy, whether that's a person, place, or thing? So there's still a little bit of release that wants to be done in this moment in time. And I think that's the thing to focus on for you. So rather than grabbing something, let something go. And what do we see here? Space. Again, lots of space in the cards. Negative space is what this would be called in design, even though it's a positive thing. You need to have space around you in order to be seen. So with this particular card, it's saying just be with the space for a little bit and then be open to receive. So some of us sometimes will create self-fulfilling prophecies. I'll never find someone or something like this again. When you do that, you're actually telling the universe you're not open. So instead, you could say, I'd like to find something equal to or greater than this. I'm open to receiving love, abundance, or opportunity that even surpasses my highest expectation. Show me it in its highest form. That's why I always say love and abundance in the highest form if you want to make it short. So be open to that. Stay open and don't limit yourself. I think that's going to be Really, really important. Some of you just need some rest. The Four of Swords in reverse can also be an acknowledgement that you've been working hard and the candle's being burned at both ends. And so I would say make sure that you're taking ample time to rest, recuperate, and prioritize your own sort of health and happiness, because we all fall victim to this sometimes where we're just too busy. On top of this, we have the Five of Cups, which is a perspective shifting card. Typically, you would see 3 cards spilled in the front, 2 behind, upright, and the 2 behind can represent that someone has your back. This card takes a sort of different view at this, which is we can see that special someone in the background. And as is so often the case with these cards, sometimes it's all about making sure that you're paying attention to that opportunity or that perspective. Because if you don't, you might miss that someone's been there all along. Someone really wants to support you. They want to be there with you or for you. There's also a chance to sort of like say, yes, this didn't go the way I wanted it to, but look at this over here. This is something that I feel development and movement on. So go with the energetic flow. And if anything is left in its wake, that is the past. It doesn't define who you are. It doesn't mean that you're stuck. It really is just this amazing, flowing, opening energy that wants to come through. Okay? As we go into your deep past, we have the Nine of Pentacles. This, it's kind of hard to see. I love this card. I love that we see sort of like the fruit of your labor here, just one big blossom. But let's do ourselves a favor here and take a look at the traditional Nine of Pentacles. And if I see the Five of Cups here, I'll grab them too, because this abstract deck sometimes will miss a couple things. So what I like with the Nine of Pentacles is it shows the sense of, here we go, just sort of being in the lap of luxury. So this is the traditional Nine of Pentacles. We see someone here who has worked hard to create abundance around her. She is living in that and embracing that. And so what we see here for some of you is you may underestimate your ability to be independent or do something on your own. You may be selling yourself short when you don't have to, when we see a lot of value, a lot of sustainability, a lot of ability with this card, because it's not easy to get into the energy of the Nine of Pentacles. So this shows me you've done a lot of hard work on yourself, and it's now time to celebrate, enjoy that. Slow and steady wins the race. We always like to look at the little snail up at the bottom there, and it's basically saying, you know, be patient with yourself. It's taking you a while to get here. It may take a while to get to the next thing, but you're treading exactly the way you need to. And there's a lot of value and a lot of self-worth that's there, and hopefully you can see and celebrate that. We have the Page of Cups reversed in the recent past. It's interesting that we have like a nesting vibe with this one. And with this in reverse, some of you may be going through separation. It could be an empty nest vibe. So maybe a child moved out, maybe a roommate moved out, maybe a friend that you really love to hang out with ended up moving to a different state, country, etc. And there's this sort of like opening that used to be there. And now it's a matter of thinking like, how do I want to fill that space in my life? And it could also be a pet as well. So maybe your pet crossed and you're thinking, do I just want to sit with the space for a little bit? I think that's actually a very natural thing and a very healthy thing to do after you've transitioned out of anything big, job, relationship, love, because you have to pick up the pieces a little bit. And it does get better. It absolutely does get better, but you have to feel who you are first, because otherwise the rebounding energy, what happens is other people end up kind of being on mop-up duty and they're trying to fix your problems or they're trying to figure out where you stand. So sort yourself out. The other thing with this is there could be an offer that isn't what you want. Page of Cups in reverse is saying, you know, I'm looking for something a little bit more than this, or energetically, I don't know if I'm ready for this yet. And all of these are valid things to feel. So if you're not ready, say no. If it doesn't feel right, you can say not yet for some of these as well. Just give yourself the time that you need. And again, being gentle with your emotional state of being, also amazingly important when we see the Page of Cups. So that was, that's probably why I saw Volcano too, because again, the emotions can go one way or the other. Let's try to channel them into a creative force. Your crowning card, we love. And it's actually very much connected to the Five of Cups. So like I said, traditional Five of Cups, I'll try to find it while I leave the camera down here. Traditional Five of Cups would show the 2 cards behind the person. Here we actually just see the other raven in the background. Let's see if it's handy here. What I would focus on is not that it's like this. Here's an interesting thing. If you say like everybody's the same, or I keep dating the same type of man or woman or whatever, you're spot on, because you're saying, well, there's a cycle that I need to release. I keep looking in the wrong direction. Let me focus on the who's always there. Here it is. Who's always there, who always has my back. Let's also focus on, what else is out there. Just because one thing didn't work doesn't mean that everything won't. And so this one is showing the person looking in the wrong direction. And in this one, we see someone not looking at behind them. There's always an opportunity. Let's put it this way. I think the best is yet to come, and the best may already be right there in your periphery. And it's just a matter of saying, oh, yeah, I forgot about that, or I forgot about this person, or I forgot that I connected that way, or I could feel this way again. So the main thing that I'm picking up on here is that partnership, love, support, it's there for you if you need it. It's closer than you think. Look at how close these two birds are. It's a beautiful sort of illustration here. The Two of Cups is also a magnet. So much like lovers and star energy can bring things into your life, Two of Cups is fantastic for that. So if you're single and happy, or partnered and happy, the Two of Cups represents the ability for you to extend your professional, personal, or sort of like community network in this moment in time. And it's showing you also that some of the best things that are availing themselves to you this month are coming through friends and colleagues and that sort of expanded network. So I think I would encourage you, if you're willing and ready, to sort of put yourself out there, say yes to some invitations, and also like look into some things that you can do, maybe finding those sort of partnerships that are out there. So maybe you're going to go back to yoga. Maybe you're going to try to find a place where you can, work out, or you're going to go back to educating yourself, and in doing that class that you take, you're going to meet someone. I see someone coming into your life, and it's not about you swiping on an app. It would be you getting out into the world and kind of like connecting in some way, shape, or form. Okay? But good month to deepen existing relationships as well, I would say. So you can deepen relationships, you can meet new people, and you can absolutely network. All of those things are supported with the Two of Cups when it's present. Judgment. I actually featured this card in one of the daily pulls, and it's an interesting judgment because we see the crown there, and we see a book, which could be your connection to your like book of life. It could also be the knowledge that you've acquired over all the years. Typically on the Judgment card, we would see Archangel Gabriel, and it basically that angel is announcing something. What happens with Judgment when it's upright is we may be finally at a point in our life where we're ready, or we're able to say, this is what I want, or this is my decision, or you can decide to accept or reject someone else's decision. Judgment is the final phase. Justice is when you're deciding what to do and how to serve it, but judgment, it's being served. It's basically saying, this is it. So I get that there are people looking at you in this moment in time and saying, I need to know where you stand, or what should we do? And they may not have insight on this. You may also need to follow your own better judgment when someone says something that doesn't sit right or doesn't sound right. So I was talking as I moved. I had to get some new insurance and everything. And, I had to dig deeper. I found out something wasn't covered, this and that. But I had this sort of feeling like, are you sure? Or let's look at this, or I need to talk to someone else, because I knew that person didn't understand what I was trying to get across. And I needed to tell someone. It's an announcement card. You need to declare what it is that you want. It's a declaration. So be as clear as possible. And also, if talking to someone and you feel like that connection isn't clear, try to either use different words, meet at a different time, or talk to someone else. We need to make sure that the clarity is coming through with this particular judgment. You have a lot to say, you have a lot to offer, and you are ready to make a decision that's in front of you. Okay? Can always be a little bit challenging, but in this moment in time, you're definitely set up for success. Okay. Judgment, when coupled with the Four of Swords, is a rebound. It's basically, if we look at the card here, we see souls rising from the dead. And the traditional Four of Swords I showed you in the slide, it's someone moving on. Six of Swords, I'm sorry, Four of Swords is rest. I forgot that. I'm still waking up this morning. So the Four of Swords is rest. It would be someone basically, you usually see a sepulcher, and it looks like a tombstone, and it's basically putting things to rest. Six of Swords, of course, being the subtle movement that I was showing in that slide. I realized as I'm talking that I was referencing a different card in that. So let's just pull it up for clarity's sake. But what we're seeing here is a rebound after a period of healing. Here we go. So here's your Four of Swords, where you're resting, you're healing, and here's your rebound energy, where you're coming back and you're finding that you're not the same person, but you may be stronger, you may be better, you may be different. And across all of this is also the Six of Swords, which I showed in the slide, which is saying, because I now have let go of this and because I can see a new possibility, now I can get in that boat and go to the other side of the shore and experience something new. So we see gentle movement. It's kind of interesting and ironic that I got the Death card here as well. So just as I'm looking at what's in this deck over here, because really it is transformation, but all the subtle forms of transformation. So you get to come back. This is the comeback card. This is the reinvention card, rebirth, reimagining. You're not at all stuck. The only thing that will kind of keep you in one situation is a lack of imagination or possibly exhaustion. But otherwise, you're being set up here to succeed, which is great. All right, let's move into how you're showing up as I'm looking at you. So we have the Hermit card here. This deck is interesting. I always have to make sure the Hierophant also has this similar illustration, so I always check. It's the Hermit. Hermit in reverse, it's a time to come out of your shell, a time to come out of your cave. This almost looks like a flame when we're looking at this as well, or from a distance, almost like a volcano. But what the Hermit discovers is basically that they had the power, the strength, and the insight to do something all along. Sometimes you have to go through the experience of research. Sometimes you have to go through some difficulty, and you have to spend some time on your own or by yourself to make that discovery. But once you've made the discovery and it feels like you're on the precipice of it, if you haven't already done it, then it's time to share what you've learned with others. And it's time to let people see you shine as well. Okay? So because I'm doing this early in the month, the first part of this I like to look at it as 6 to 8 weeks. I would say the first 4 weeks of this reading, for many of you, you're going to be in the Hermit shell. And so as we start to hopefully get you into the first or second week of October, if you're watching this live, you should start some sort of tricky situations here. So the Three of Swords in reverse, it can be an indication that a partnership is coming to a close. There could be a disappointment. There could be simply a stressful like work or home environment. This can be toxicity in the environment because that's where this card showed up. So as we see the nails going through these two hands here, I would say one of the important things for you to do is to, instead of meeting pain or meeting fear or anger with the same energy, you want to meet it with a soothing or opposite energy. So if someone's angry at you, hold space for a moment and then say, I'm listening, but I have feelings too, and I have things that I need to express. You don't have to be someone's punching bag, ever, actually. And so if someone is just being verbally abusive, what you would say is, we need to stop the conversation now and resume it when we can both hear each other, because this is, this is not productive. So let's talk later. That's what I would do if someone is angry and they're throwing daggers at you. Say, I know you're upset and I want to hear what you have to say, but I can't talk when we're both kind of like this. So let's talk tomorrow. Let's sleep on it. Come back with some new ideas and we'll sort it out. That's saying you matter, but I can't. You don't have to energetically exchange that sort of frequency with someone else. So put up some limits if you can. Sometimes it's difficult with people. Sometimes things can't be put off. Otherwise, you can say, I hear you and I know you're upset. I'm upset too. Let's talk about how we can fix this. Acknowledge what they're saying and put your commitment in there as well. And then say, it's not fun to receive. I don't want to be yelled at while we're doing it. I'm not yelling. Sometimes you know what happens. It's that exchange. So if that's happening, try to de-escalate or step away, because you did get Four of Swords. We also saw Six of Swords in my channeled messages. So I feel like it's okay to say, not now, but later, and just hold firm to that. It's environmental. It's not about you. It's the other person projecting, and they may come back later and say, I'm so sorry, I was acting crazy earlier. I was not myself. I was emotional, etc. So give them space, give them time, and try not to go into like a 10 of Swords exchange instead. You're healing in this moment in time. Like I said, there could just be something going on where there's a disappointment, a challenge, etc., and you're just going to release that and say, all right, I am ready to what? Receive love and abundance in the highest form. So you're going to let go of this and you're going to open up to this. And it's coming, folks. When we look at opportunity, we have some beautiful stuff coming through here. So you have the King of Cups here, little angel wing in it as well. So the King of Cups could, for some of you, be a love opportunity on the horizon if you're trying to call in someone, a water sign. It could also be this really great heart-opening adventure for you. So there might be some sort of a new friendship on the horizon. There could be something where you just feel really a sense of fulfillment. Like, I did this. I really feel in my power, in my strength, in my creative flow. So creativity is sort of skyrocketing as the month comes to a close. Partnerships, we got 2 cards indicating a potential partnership, both the 2 of Cups and the King of Cups. So I feel pretty good about your ability to bring in or to nurture or to fix partnerships across the board. All of that portends good things. And now as we look at your Destiny card, I like this deck. It's just too shiny, as you can tell. It's picking up all the lights in the room. Not your Destiny card, but your Outcome card. We have the 6 of Pentacles. This and discernment go hand in hand. So in order to call more of this in, the King of Cups energy and the 2 of Cups energy, you have to decide how invested you are in certain things. So this card would typically show someone holding scales and coins and doling out the coins to worthy energies. So like you can't help everyone, but if you put your energy here, you're going to see a return on it. So what you can do this month to really soar is to say, I'm going to do less, but I'm going to do it much better, basically. So do less, but do it better. I'm going to say no. I'm going to focus on really going all in for the things that matter most to me. I'm going to be picky. And that pickiness is going to tell the universe that I believe in myself. I'm ready for higher energy, and I'm not going to settle for less than the best as well. So the discernment is really coloring this a little bit. This is particularly when it comes to relationships, and we'll get there in a second, but that's definitely important here. 6 of Pentacles is my base card that I look for success. So basically when we see the 4 and 5 of Pentacles, they're not good energetic exchanges. It's usually showing lack of self-worth, someone that might be stingy, holding on to something that you shouldn't. An ace is good, obviously. A 2 is showing that you need to make a choice. There's a balance issue. And the 3 is usually education and things of that nature. But 6 is the first time when you're going through the suit of Pentacles that you're seeing, you figured out how to balance things, or you're finding your balance. So this month, that's going to be the constant thing, is there's going to be people that come in and they're going to test. Do you know where you stand? Do you know how much you're worth? Are you willing to give more than this, et cetera, et cetera? So you get to decide how to spend the most precious resource, which is your time, and I would say your love as well. So time, love, energy. Money is out there as an abstract, but it's your time on this planet that matters the most. You guys were asking the other day about Apollo. He's getting older, so what I do is every single day, I spend as much time with him as I can, because, I know he's not going to be on this planet forever. And you can even tell he's a lot quieter than he used to be in my readings. He's an older dog. So spend time with people that deserve your energy more, with other beautiful beings that deserve your energy more. Spend your time in your day doing things that matter the most. And over the course of this year, again, I've experienced a lot of change and a lot of loss, and it's sort of like I understand things are finite on the planet. I never say life is short. I say life is finite because that's more accurate. Life could be long for you, but make it count. Make it count. Forget the phrase "make it work" on Project Runway. I would say, as a coach, I would say make it count. Make your life count. Make this moment count. And if it feels good to you, then you're doing the right thing. Okay? Good. All right, so let's focus now on your extended forecast. Quick note, just in case you don't know what the extended forecast comprises. The expanded forecast has health, wealth, love, and destiny. Each of them is multi-part, and each one of these we're going to go into in a little bit of detail. So yeah, Apollo had a really rough start, by the way. I see some people talking about dogs. When I rescued him, he had been hit by a car, and he had been through 3 foster homes. He was in a shelter. He had hip surgery. It was a rough few years before I got him. And so that's why I treat him like a little prince, because I feel like he came to me to be healed and to find a good home. Okay, so let's focus on your health card. What an interesting card to come through for you. I talked about self-worth, which is great. I wouldn't necessarily ascribe a skunk with knowing your worth. What I would say with health, pay attention to something. The skunk would come through and you can't ignore it. You can't not see it, right? Or can't not smell it. So if something doesn't seem right, if something doesn't smell right intuitively, you have to deal with it. So if there's, something and a standard disclaimer applies in here. I am looking at energy, but this is good health advice and it goes with my disclaimer. If something feels like it's not right in your mind, in your body, in your just general sort of, even just I would say emotional state, then this is a time to talk to a professional and say, let's look at this. What's this about? Be discerning, get a second opinion if you need to, because judgment and discernment are both coming through in this spread. So this is a time to not ignore things, to get as much information as you can, and to feel like you're making an educated decision. And that's what I'm seeing with this. Because this spirit totem also kind of attaches to the olfactory nerve. Some of you may be having some issues with sinuses, or there could be some allergies, and this card is just asking you to take a look at that, maybe work with your ear, nose, throat specialist, etc. The other thing that I see with the skunk is it's not going to kind of emanate that smell unless it's feeling threatened. So I think for some of you, dealing with that energy of stress management is going to be really, really important in this time. I'm going to have to get the lights here different. I'm noticing that it's shifting a bit. All right, so with this, I would say pay attention to your fight or flight energy, this feeling of, am I going to panic for something? Because basically this is saying you don't need to panic. There's just this sort of instinct that's coming in, and you want to make sure that you don't cause a stink. So going into the 10 of Swords because of the emotional state that you're feeling. That's kind of what I'm getting with this. So emotions could lead you to react, and the reaction could be a little bit over the top. And that's something that you want to be mindful of in this moment in time. Okay. Let's look specifically at some of the other energies around health. So lack of sleep, first and foremost, is going to be one of the biggest challenges for some of you, and how to deal with getting good quality of sleep in your schedule. I think that also for some of you, let's see what else is going on. Just general balance of your schedule, how much time and energy you're spending in certain things, that needs to be improved as well. So getting a better handle on time management, getting a better management on your sleep schedule will help quite a bit. You could have had a close call with something going on in your life. So this can be sort of like a wake-up call for you as well. So if you had an experience where, you caught something just in time, then this is just telling you to be mindful of loving yourself more, investing a little bit more time and energy into what you're doing and taking care of that as well. Okay. By and large, it's actually pretty good. All of these cards are looking good. There's nothing here that strikes me as problematic, which is always good when I'm reading cards. Just getting outside a little bit more will be key here with the Hermit. A lot of times with the Hermit energy, what can happen here is, I would say for many of you, this feeling of, I want to protect myself. I'm going to stay inside. I'm going to hopefully just, if I do this and I don't expose myself to the world in large, I'm going to be safer, et cetera, et cetera. So I would say for you, it's important to get out there. It's important to be seen. So, and yes, it's interesting that the light is shifting as we're talking about this. This is typically, by the way, historically why I moved from facing like from having windows behind me to facing the window like in my old place. I may have to shift it around if I continue to do it in this room because, or I'll have to get some window treatments here because it's a little bit bright. It was a little bit more space in the other room, but interesting intuitive thing. The reason that I moved is I was intuitively shown that there's going to be some issues with the skylights there when it hits the rainy season, and I don't want my equipment to be damaged. I'm in an older apartment. Even this, I have to kind of be mindful of it. So love the space, but it's kind of like I said with the Tuscan Sun movie reference when I did the Q&A, I have to find the room that's the safest and has maybe the least potential to have leaks. So older buildings tend to have that. So anyway, this space is nice though because it's clean, it's white, it's open, and I'll figure out how to position the cameras. I'm still getting set up. This has been a year where I'm constantly changing my sort of like backdrop every month or every few weeks here, trying to find the right match here. So thank you for your patience. All right, back into the reading. Looking at what's going on with wealth, we have the Cosmic Egg. Cosmic Egg is a fantastic card because it shows, well, first of all, I think it's highly connected to the Hermit. Some of you are holding on to or protecting something quite a bit. In tarot, I would make this the Four of Pentacles because it's a tight hold on something. It's a combination of like an Ace of Pentacles, because aces are seeds and eggs and beginnings, and then taking an ace and making it a Four of Pentacles, which is not what you want to do. You want this ace to grow. So the mama snake is guarding her egg to make sure that there's something beautiful that will come out of that. So I get it. But I actually feel like you're at a point right now where it's time to release. Interestingly enough, that was part of the message this morning. I pulled the Empress card reversed rather, which is about birthing, releasing, and stepping into something new. So in this moment in time, I would say if you've done the work and everything's set up, it's time to let this next sort of phase in your life begin. So you might be waiting to pull the trigger when it comes to, or push the key when it comes to applying to a college, sending a resume, or maybe picking up the phone and talking to someone about a new opportunity. This is telling me you're sitting on something really valuable and there's no time like the present to put some energy into this. It's also a reminder, much like the Nine of Pentacles, that in order to make something grow, you have to invest in it. So how invested are you, or how vested are you in something? Once you have expressed that sort of commitment to it, you're going to see things expand, which is good. Let's look at the general spread here and see what's going on. The interesting thing here is that I see more worth and more work here than I'm seeing here. And it feels like you may be fighting for representation, for getting proper pay, or for getting someone to hear or see you. I like to kind of remind folks that it's important to pay attention to the movement of energy and how receptive energy is to you, for instance. So if you feel like you're constantly pushing, constantly forcing, that in and of itself is a sign that there is a better way to do it. So for some of you, that might be an indication here that it's time to go in a different direction, because you're worth more than I'm seeing here. Ask for more. In a negotiation, ask for a little bit more for sure. All right. Time to walk away from stress in your life. Time to focus a little bit more on taking care of yourself, because I can definitely see some of you are pushing yourself a little bit too far. Partnership coming through even in career. Some of you could meet someone through like an after work engagement, maybe like there's, a networking event or drinks or whatever. There's a little bit of overflow between that. Even though we're looking at work, I'm actually getting a partnership. This partnership, if it is a professional one and solely professional, is fruitful because we have a King of Cups, we have the Two of Cups, we have the Cosmic Egg. We also have a karmic connection here. So if you're bringing in love or a friend or a partner, karmic, which would mean a soulmate, fruitful, because we've got the egg here, basically something wonderful. There could be an offer. There could be something that, the only thing that I'm getting here is that we want to do everything above the table. You don't want an under the table offer. There's something casual or a little bit not buttoned down about it. So if you are getting some sort of a verbal offer, say, great, can you email that to me later, or let's get this written up tomorrow. Quickly try to execute upon something like that is sort of just casually thrown about, so that someone doesn't abuse the fact that it isn't on paper or that you're friends. You want to get that written down for sure. But ultimately, I see the ability for you to ask and get more than you thought you could get for negotiations. I see increased visibility if you're willing to put yourself there. And I see a rebound. So if you were quitting or were fired or you walked away from something, you have a chance now to bounce back into something that makes you happier. You have a lot of support here, and you have a decent amount of energy to kind of get you to the next part of the journey. So it's looking really good actually for wealth. I think this is a great time for those of you that wanted to turn a new corner. If you're stuck, talk to someone about what it is that you want to do next. I do think you can break through that. You may not get everything you want though. So this might be, if you were asking for a raise of $10,000, you may only get $6,000. If you're asking for a title shift, you might get one step under or a half step under, an associate instead of the full title, for instance. So instead of a producer, you're an associate producer. So it's a half step is what I see for some of you if you're going to stay. If you're going to stay, you'll get some of what you want. If you're going to leave, you'll probably get a lot more. So it's worth checking external opportunities to see what's on the horizon. You could pleasantly surprise yourself. Okay? That's the main piece here. Enhanced and increased creativity. So if there's any way that you can express yourself more creatively, great. And some of you may just want to have some time off. I talk about this for students, but as adults, we need this too. This could be, it doesn't have to be a full year, but give yourself a gap between things. So if you have been working from one job to another, and you just gave notice, don't go to the next job the next week. Give yourself at least the same notice that you gave the other job. Give yourself 2 weeks to sort out your just daily affairs. If you're ever in a point in your life where you could just take a month off and decompress and you've saved up enough, not everyone can do that, but if you could do something like that, you'll enter into this new experience, a new person. You'll have strong energy, but at least 1 to 2 weeks. Never go straight from one to another. I've done that, and I think we all have from time to time, and you're just kind of like, you're still in the old habits of the old place and everything. You need to mourn the loss for a little bit. So try to buffer a week if you can. If you've been unemployed for a while, because the empty room can indicate that as well, then there is an offer. It's going to come through friends or through networking. So networking is the key. And it may not be everything that you wanted, but if you're really looking for something right now to kind of jumpstart what you're looking for, this is not bad. It's maybe not ideal, but it's not bad. If you can be picky and discerning, you can hold out a little bit more. But we all have times in our life where we have to do or take some opportunity because you need the resources. So if you need it, I'm seeing that you're going to manage this month. You should be able to fight for more, though, than what I'm seeing here. So negotiate for a little bit more because it seems like the other side is getting more or a better deal, and I want it to be an equal deal. Okay? Let's move on to the next piece. So we're going to next look at relationships here, and we have divine discernment. Step back and find clarity. This is where I definitely want you not to settle for second best, I should say. So this is your chance to say, I've worked hard to get where I'm at. I'm going to focus on manifesting this. This is the right person or it's not the right person. If you don't feel it, walk away from that. You don't have to settle, basically, is what we're seeing with this. So that's an important message. It's always an important message. It's better to wait and hold space than to take something that actually complicates things or makes them messier. So be very sure before you step into the next big thing. Let's take a look at all the different messages for those in a relationship, looking for a relationship, or single and happy. If you're in a relationship, we're going to go back to the empty room and we're going to go to the Four of Swords. The Four of Swords, like I showed you earlier, is that card where people are checking out a little bit. So in friendships, this would be someone who doesn't call back, doesn't return calls full stop. It's not like they don't call back. They just never initiate. If you happen to see them or talk to them, they're there. But this is an indication. I like to remind folks that silence is communication. So if someone is communicating to you with silence, they're saying, I am moving on, and so should you. Or I'm holding a grudge, or I just don't want to connect. And I think we should give people, in this case, what they want so that we can invest in relationships that do appreciate, do want, do embrace who we are and what we have to show. So that's one thing that I'm picking up on, is that there could be a disconnect. What happens a lot of times is we just outgrow relationships. So this could be an ex. I'm looking at current, but it could be an ex. It could be a friend that you've known for a long time and you love them like you love brothers, sisters, and friends. But there could be this sort of feeling like they're slipping away, or they're just not as connected. That's also their choice too. So let them know that you're there, hold the space, but then focus on embracing and connecting with others, because that's really what this is about. Now, other messages for those in a relationship, and a change of perspective is needed. With the Five of Cups, much like the Five of Pentacles, your partner may have your back or vice versa, but one party is having a hard time seeing that. It's a stay versus go moment. The Judgment card is up. It's basically up to you. A big part of this is up to you, and that may be frustrating to you. But state what you want, say what's important. If you want to fix a relationship where there are challenges, it's not bad. The Six of Pentacles tells me that both of you are willing to give and take, but you're not willing to, there's not going to be you're not going to acquiesce all the way, and they're not going to surrender all the way either. So if this is enough, then it's enough and you'll be happy. You just have to decide if what they're willing to offer is enough, because I don't feel like there's going to be a lot of shifting beyond that. Some of you are ready to rebound, and there'll be good things if you are ready to rebound. So we'll talk about that in a moment. I think the main challenge is your happiness and their happiness. So the Three of Swords, because it's in the environment of the relationship, could mean that your partner could be going through a difficult loss in their life. The two of you could be going through some arguments or some difficulty, but it could be in the environment of one of you. So if it's something that's environmental, you'll support each other. If it's the two of you, you have to decide, are we going to work on this? Are we going to fix it? There's a lot to fight for, but you have to make sure that you're ready and willing to do the work. For those of you that are feeling like everything's peachy, everything's good, there might be some decisions on just general life path, like a career path or a living situation, like you want to move to a new place or you want to change careers or whatever. There's going to be a little bit of, even with this, I would say there's going to be some conversations around this. So making a big change could present challenges for existing relationships. So you'll have to, it's all give and take. I like the top two cards. Coming from a place of love and getting some or most, but not all of everything that you're looking for. And that's going to have to be enough to sort of like meet the partner halfway. All right, for those of you that are looking for love this month, take care of yourself first and foremost, because the Four of Swords is exhaustion when it's reversed, so you need to take care. Also, there may be someone that's already got their eye on you. You just have to look around. In fact, I'm getting that as I'm looking at the top card here. I think that the other thing is, if you are rebounding or that person is rebounding, give it some time. They may freak out a little bit. I'm actually seeing that for all relationship statuses this month. Someone needs their space, because that is space, that is space, and that is space. This is going into a cave. That is not talking to someone, and that's literally saying the empty room. So giving one another space is going to be key if you're in a relationship, new or old. And I think that a little bit of distance like that actually can make each of you appreciate each other more. So you can spend an afternoon at a cafe reading, or you can go to the grocery store and run some errands on your own. You can take a nap in a different part of the room or the home and just sort of say, I just need some time. I need an hour. I need 10 minutes, whatever it is that you need. Get your space, recollect your thoughts. That's going to help you. Other messages for those looking for love, it might be a water sign. I'd see a karmic connection. I see a deep connection. I think you're going to have a hard time fitting them in your schedule because you're busy. So prioritization is going to be a big sort of component of new and budding relationships, no pun intended here. Okay, so for those of you that are single and happy, I think it's a time for healing. These two cards represent healing, 4 and 3 of Swords. The core of the spread is actually about the healing. The environment is what you need to heal. And finding yourself and finding that others are there for you is going to be one of the discoveries here. Like, there are some people that want to lend support, so don't be afraid to reach out. I think that you can improve your financial situation by the end of the month, which is good for all of us. And I think the big question is, what are you looking for? The universe is really looking to you to state that intention. So what is it that you're looking to create, right? Let's focus now on your destiny card. We have the Temple. So what are you creating in your life that feels like this? First of all, your house, your car, and your office. If you haven't cleaned them, this is the time to clean them. Think of the places where you spend the most energy. It's probably those three places: house, office, and car. There may be other things in your life where you spend time, but wherever you spend time, if it's messy, clear it up. One thing that I've discovered, even just as I keep kind of changing up the backdrop for all the readings, each room, each space has a definite energy to it. It changes how I channel, it changes how I feel. And even having even a little more space here, it's the same sort of thing where I'm like, okay, this is a different feeling, and it allows me to be more open. So open your space, you'll open your mind, you'll open your energy. It's sort of this beautiful connective thread that happens. So the other thing that this card is about, besides having clear spaces and clear minds, is what is the great work? I talked about this last month when I referenced Charlotte's Web. What's your magnum opus? In Charlotte's Web, slight spoiler alert here, she creates sort of like this egg sac, basically, and all these little spiders come out, and that's her magnum opus. But there's this beautiful sort of, it was a sad story. It makes me tear up now because the spider is Wilbur, that was his name, right? It's his best friend. But she's going to pass away, but she's leaving the legacy of the children. So for some of us, the legacy can be family, right? For some of us, the legacy can be our work. For some of us, the legacy can be the effect that we leave, the imprint that we leave on this planet before we transfer to, the next dimension. So what are you doing to create something like that? What's your great work? Because I look at the Temple and I think of that. And I also think of the safety and the solitude that some of you might need right now to clear your minds. There's a lot with this Destiny card. It's three things: clearing your space and clearing your mind. To clear your mind, you might need to go into a temple, a church, or a mosque, or another place of safety and sanctity, and sanctuary. And besides all of that, what's the great work? What's the temple? What's this creation that you're leaving behind? Because I think of things like that, that we see them for generations. So it's a bigger sort of existential question, but I don't know why we're not asked that. Like what is, if I had a child, which I have no intentions of doing, I feel like all of you and Apollo, and I've got plenty of people out there, but if I were to raise a child and they came to me and they were asking, like, what do you want to do for a career? What should I do? I don't know what to do. What I would do to coach them is I would say, what do you derive joy from? What brings you joy? What effect do you want to have on this planet? How can we bring the two into sort of a Venn diagram where you are living and working in your joy and you're also making a difference? That's where the power is. We can't always do that all the time. But when those two things come together, then you have this sort of beautiful energy that we see in this card. So right now, my sort of question, homework for all of you, we can do this at any age. We don't just need to do it when we're 15 and trying to plan for college. I would say at this point in your life, what brings you joy? What is on your bucket list? Because as we get older, there are things that we want to experience. So what brings you joy? Take your regrets and make them goals. So what do you want to do that you haven't done? And what do you want to be remembered for? Or what do you want to, it's not always about acclaim. What's the effect that you want to have on this world before you transition and go to the other side? Think about those things on a daily basis and focus on how you can really sort of make the most out of this moment, because sometimes we just sort of sleepwalk, right? And we don't realize how finite the experience is. Let's look at your big idea. Big idea is going to help you spark movement and inspiration. It's going to be the answer to what's the empty room about. I feel like this card is going to help with that. Yeah, Apollo's my child. He won't live forever. I know that too. All right, the Chariot card is coming through here. So with the Chariot for the big idea, it's saying you're driving the ship. You're at the helm. So what are you planning to do with that responsibility and with that opportunity? When I'm at a point in my life where it's, besides that furry little creature looking at me, watching me and listening to me, it's just me. And I focus on steering the ship. it's been an interesting journey this year in particular, because you don't necessarily have people to ask questions. You're just like, all right, I'm going to do this. And then you do it. It's exciting. I think it's a combination of things when you start to embrace Emperor, Empress, or Chariot energy. And any of the sort of similar cards, like even court cards, you realize I am accountable for my actions. The buck stops here. Basically, if something goes right or something goes wrong, it's on me. So that's exhilarating, and it's also a little scary. There's also this amazing amount of freedom where you realize I can do this. I'll make this. I'll dig into this, right? So I'm telling you, you have the capacity, one little step at a time here, to take control, to take ownership. And so reclamation for some of you is what the journey is about, because there could have been someone in your life that you leaned on, or there could have been people that made you second guess yourself. Because I only have 1 minute with those, with the dailies, one thing that's really important with the Empress card in reverse is sometimes someone tries to come in and take your power, and this is a time for you to reclaim it. So the Chariot upright is coming through as an answer to the card that I pulled today, which is saying, I've always had the power, I've always had the strength, I'm driving this ship and I'm making this decision. So I think it's important to really stand behind things and start to take more ownership and more accountability. You're going to feel good about it in the long run. Okay? All right, so let's take a look at blessings and blocks. With the blessings and blocks, we're going to focus on things to embrace, things that you might need to rethink before you move into. All right? There's a question in the comments. We're going to answer it in a second. It's a good question, but let's hold. So just a second. I don't normally read comments because it actually takes me out of the flow here, but that one I'm going to answer because it's on topic. All right, but first things first, blessings and blocks, because I don't want to get distracted. Blessings are dual. Block is one. Okay, so let's see what's coming through for this. You have two blessings, both reversed, but let's pull them upright. We have the Three of Cups and we have the Knight of Wands. Let's start with the Three of Cups. The Three of Cups card is basically saying, I am not going to be a party to gossip. I'm not going to be, it's so interesting when I held this one up that the light kind of disappeared on it. Three of Cups in reverse can be gossip. It can be someone coming in and saying, did you hear this? Or what about this? Or can you believe this? So we're going to avoid things of that nature. The Three of Cups can be peer pressure when reversed. And so peer pressure can be someone trying to make you do something that's not authentic to who you are or what you stand for. The Three of Cups in reverse can also be a feeling of a clique where someone won't let you in. So what you're going to do is the opposite of all of these. You're going to embrace people and you're going to be inclusive. You're going to avoid gossip. And you're going to open yourself up to engaging with new people in your life, because the good news that came in the blessing is that there's a lot of energy of people that are interested in you, but we need to be mindful of the discernment that we looked at earlier. If someone is nice to you but not nice to other people, they're really the Three of Cups in reverse. They're gossip, or they're not what they appear to be. So I see a sort of block in the guise of a blessing here, which is that you've got a lot of people coming into your life. Don't necessarily take anyone at face value initially. Really get to know them. Really make sure that they're walking the walk, and make sure that you lead by example. Okay? So the other thing is, some of you know what you want and what you don't want. The Three of Cups comes through in relationships when we're sometimes faced with that question of, is this the one? Is this what I see myself doing? Do I feel connected to this person, place, or thing? So some of you know exactly where you stand, and that would definitely constitute a blessing. Knight of Wands in reverse. You've been doing research. I would say you can step back from that research just a little bit. This is a lot of energy of thought, a lot of kind of like contemplation. And the next step for the Knight is to make a move. The Knight in reverse is saying, let me pause for a second and see how my decisions have brought me to this point, but don't spend too much time in that sort of temporary pause. Okay? So I'm going to summarize these again. You're going to see through people, any sort of illusion. If there's someone that is acting in any of the ways that I mentioned, you're going to see it. So if I were to really make that a blessing, that's how I would say it. You're going to see someone's true intentions. You're going to walk away from gossips, cliques, and people that are basically there to pressure others. You're going to instead welcome people in and see this as a chance to celebrate our differences, celebrate what our offerings are, all of that. And then you're going to consider opportunities in front of you before acting, but you're not going to do so to the point of feeling like, I don't know, like basically stagnation. So put a time limit on how long you're going to do your research and things of that nature, and then take a step forward. The block this month for some of you is ending a cycle, actually. There's a cyclical energy that's going on with the Eight of Cups. And you have a chance this month to, it's almost like saying, I'm done with that. And you can step away from that. There's a lot of guidance on this, on the how and the when, because we see the beautiful little angel wings here, or feathers. And I would say you're being guided to end a cycle and to start something new. If you decide right now to start something, you have a better chance of having it stick. And if there's something that's been coming through again and again, it's going to be important for you to just to let it go. Okay? All right, so let's move on to the viewers and readers' choices, and we can, actually before I do that, one more thing. Someone was saying, what if I'm the person that is the Four of Swords, that I'm not talking back? It's not the most powerful way to communicate. This was on topic, so I'm going to answer it, and it's important. Think about how you feel when someone ghosts you, when someone doesn't call back. It doesn't feel good, does it? It's better to say, I'm too busy, or I'm focusing on this instead, or I'm just not feeling it. It hurts a little more in the moment, but it's going to be more mature, and it's going to attract situations in your life. It's going to build better karma. It's going to be more mature. It's going to release the person, and it's going to release you. There are times when we have to do Four of Swords because someone doesn't listen. The time that it's right to do the Four of Swords is if you've said no, if you've written it, you've spoken it, you've demonstrated it, but someone won't listen. You have to just stop reacting to them and move on. So you can shut the door purposely. This could be in the case of an ex or someone that doesn't respect boundaries. That's when you just block them and cut them off. That's a different Four of Swords than, I don't want to tell them, I don't want to hurt their feelings. Newsflash, you're hurting their feelings by not calling them back. So it's better to just say, I'm so sorry, I'm just not feeling it, or we can hang out as friends if it's a dating situation, or if it's your friend and they're driving you crazy. What you can say is, I just really need some space. I've been working a lot. I'm tired. How about next week? Or I just need some time. I'll get back to you. But right now things are really intense in my life, and I just need some personal time. Please respect that. That's better. That isn't even, they'll get the point. I think it's so much more powerful to let someone know where you stand than to ignore them. But when someone's abusive, when they ignore your limits, or when they overstep the boundaries all the time, that's when it's okay. It was an important question, and I couldn't ignore it because I thought about it, and I'm like, there are two different Four of Swords activities. One for people that don't respect, and one for people that are afraid to say something. Find your inner chariot and find a way to articulate it. It'll be better in the long run. It's always more, it's better if you are receiving feedback than not receiving feedback. Who likes to work in a vacuum, right? It's kind of scary sometimes if you're doing things and you have no feedback. Okay. It was a good question. I'm glad you put it out there. I just scan to make sure that my connection is working and that everything's okay. But that was a very good question. And I'm not calling you out or anything. I'm just saying, like, if it's there could be a valid reason for it, but I would also work on finding ways to communicate in a kind way. And you can make it about you. You can say, I just need some time to myself, or I'm not feeling up to meeting up, or I'll call you when I'm ready, but I'm not ready right now. And then if you don't call back, then they'll get it. But at least give them some indication that you're checking out or clocking out. It will be better to the best of your ability. And if you can be direct and just say, I'm not feeling it, the best, okay? You'll step into it using whatever language or whatever comfort zone is best for you. All right, and that might be one of the things that we look at when we look at questions here. But let's go into the viewers and the reader's choice. Let me grab my keyboard. Let's take a look at what the messages are, what we can talk about here. Okay. So let's start off with some things that I'm noticing in this spread here. So we've got the Judgment card here. How and when to make a big decision, or how to express. We already know that we need, timing of decisions. So how and when to make a decision. I think I can just look at all things decision related with that as well. Discernment. So let's look at discernment and relationships. What do you need to see, basically? Let's look at releasing pain, because that's a big piece. I think that's enough for you to vote on, and I will pick something that I'm looking at here in just a second. So let me send that out for you. And while you're taking part in that poll, let's see here what's coming through. I want to look at moving on. So yeah, I didn't ask. Okay, good. So 4 of Swords and Judgment, that's a rebound for me. So how to make the rebound, how to bounce back is what we're going to ask. So reader's choice is going to be how to rebound, how to bounce back, how to come back. Okay, so we got the Ace of Wands, which is great. And that was right on track with what I put in for the Pele card that I created in the presentation earlier. So this is a time for you to channel your passion and for you to really take one spark of inspiration, one thing that really lights up your energy and say, this is where I'm going to go. The important thing that you learned from the judgment situation in your past was, if you feel it, do it. If you don't, it's time to release it. It's time to move on. It's time to go in a different direction. So that's the main message that I'm getting with this one, is that it may be time for you to just sort of like stop committing to things where it's just you're kind of like only half committed. You're either in or you're out. That's the message here with the bounce back. So if you don't feel it, if you're not attracted to someone, if you're not connected in a relationship, if you're just not feeling what you need to be feeling, it's time to focus the energy in a different direction. You're in or you're not. Okay, let's focus on what you picked for me, how and when to make a big decision. Okay, good question. Let's look at just basically what judgment is all about. What are people waiting for you to decide? What are you vacillating around a little bit? What's the big decision with this anyway? So for some of you, something's been on your mind, maybe upsetting you for a bit. We have the Ace of Cups here. The Ace of Cups showing that in reverse, I'm choosing now to let something go. I think some of you could be trying to quit or walk away from a relationship or just say no. It feels like it's a no to me with the Ace of Cups in reverse, because an Ace upright is usually an opportunity. With it in reverse, you're saying no because I'm not feeling it, because I'm not passionate about this, because this isn't just resonating the way that I need it to resonate. So it's important to honor your feelings. That came through loud and clear multiple times today. So if it's an extension of what I just had here. We have 2 aces, right? So I was looking at what the next thing is about for you, the rebound. If you're on a rebound, you have to be able to feel it. Passion is the Ace of Wands. Emotional sensitivity and connection is the Ace of Cups. Does your heart feel connected? This is the middle chakras, where the Ace of Wands would be the lower chakras. And so I would say maybe Ace of Pentacles could be around the center, because it's about worth. And then what have we missed here? Cups, Wands, Swords. Swords can definitely be higher up because you're communicating and around the... It's interesting. I never thought of placing the aces in different parts of the body, but this is definitely your heart. So if your heart says no, if you just feel like this isn't it, then it's time to listen to that. If you're unhappy, letting someone know that you're unhappy can be a very challenging thing, but it's important. You can say, this is stressing me out. I feel like the important thing here is to express emotions and to express desire and your sort of vision. And that's also in the judgment energy too. So you're allowed to be happy. You're entitled to have that satisfaction, that joy. That's part of the reason we come on this planet. So let's make it happen. Let's embrace that and do whatever is necessary to really breathe some life into your and some happiness into your life, I should say. Okay. So that's what I'm getting. This is about an emotional connection to something. And if it doesn't exist, don't do it. We're looking at both passion and heart. You need to feel inspired and you need to feel loved and supported. And this is the next step of the journey for you. Okay? Okay. Let's move on to the sun, rising, and moon messages. As I said earlier, I always like to break this down so that you can get a little bit more insight on what's coming through in those aspects of your chart. So let's take a look and see what the cards have to yield. Thank you so much, by the way, for all the support. I appreciate the super stickers and super chat. I will say thank you at the end. Sun, rising, and moon. Okay, some interesting and very, very different messages for each of these. So we'll begin with the sun sign. You have the Eight of Pentacles. This is a very favorable card. Eight of Pentacles shows a return on investment. So whenever we get the Eight of Pentacles, it's basically the universe saying, yes, what you plan to invest your time and energy in should be fruitful. You're going to learn a lot from it. It may take some time and energy to make it happen, but it's going to be worth all of the hard work. So in this period of time, if you are Aries sun, if you're born under the sign of Aries, you're going to have a really fruitful month. I would encourage you to start something, finish something, do anything with training or knowledge expansion, mentorship, learning, curriculum, research papers, anything where you're actually engaging with data or writing or expanding your knowledge. It's a really good time for all of the above. So busy month, but productive month and a nice return. And there may be people in your life that are knocking on your door and saying, hey, I would love for you to help out with this, or I would love to get your thoughts on this. So people are reaching out to you for insight because they value who you are and what you have to offer. Okay? So it puts you in a position of power, which is cool. I like that. Across the board, actually, it's a really good month for all of that. The reversal of this, by the way, is saying that some of you may make a 180 change or shift when it comes to what it is that you want to do, or you're repackaging your skills. This is super important. Just because you went to school for one thing doesn't mean that you can't. Like one of my best English teachers was a lawyer. She decided to not use her JD degree and instead come and teach AP English. And I thought that was a really cool pivot in her life. And she never looked back. She was like, yeah, I got tired of that and I wanted to help students. I wanted to make an impact. So, but what was cool was she was very fair, obviously, because she came from a legal background, and she helped us learn how to present a case when it came to research papers. So she was like, this is how you set it up. This is what you say at this point. This is what you do here. This is how you attribute sources. It was a very methodical view. And so I could definitely see the lawyer coming in when she was teaching us it was the hardest English class I ever took. And it was the only time I ever got a B in any English class ever, actually, because I always got A's because that was just my thing. But first semester I got a B and I'm like, oh my God, it was really hard and I stressed out. And then I ended up getting an A later, but I worked for that. So for some of you, you could be repackaging your skills, or you could be challenged like I was, because the Eight of Pentacles in reverse is self-doubt over skills. So if you're challenged, you're actually in a good spot. You found someone that's going to push you. If you're feeling like I need to shift and use my skills elsewhere, do it, because you're going to be well suited for that. Okay, so an exciting pivot that is possible, a slight sort of shift in direction, which is fun. For rising and ascendant, this is going to be a moment of awakening for you. We have the Devil card. As we hear a car outside really connecting to the devil energy. That was crazy, wasn't it? It sounded like it was a motorcycle. Okay, so with that, the devil wanted to come through and say, yes, it's time to make a change. This comes through with limiting thoughts and limiting ideas. Let's talk about really what the devil represents. Sometimes it comes through in the guise of someone who means you well, but they tend to make a lot of sort of like constraints. It's all these conditions. Yes, but only if you do this, 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 and this. So if there are too many conditions put on a contract or on any sort of engagement, you're going to walk away from that energy. Okay? If you have a little internal alarm, just like we heard that kind of goes off. You want to listen to that too. If something feels too good to be true, or if something feels like it's not good enough, then you want to speak up. The devil also is about secrets, a lack of accountability, or a lack of transparency. So you just want to counter the devil energy overall here, and you would want to be as transparent and communicative as possible, and you want to make sure that you ask questions. Get in there as sort of like an interrogator and say, how about this? How about this, etc. If someone wants too much, walk away from it. Okay? For yourself, this is a really good time. By the way, if you have a Capricorn sort of component to your chart, this could be that part coming out a little bit. There could also be a Capricorn coming into your life. But aside from that, I think this is about seeing something way before it's going to happen and trusting your judgment. Because I believe you can see this energy long before it manifests in your life. So this is a chance for you to say, been there, done that, not going to do that again. That is not a good idea for me in this point of my life. So see the limits and know what your limits are. And then if there are too many conditions being put on something, walk away from that. If you are meeting someone that's, if you're recently single, or if you're single and looking, this is a card to make sure that there are no attachments. So double check contracts. Make sure that if you've met someone new, that the attachments are gone, that they're not still dating someone or still married to someone. And I think for yourself, be really honest, because the devil can come through sometimes when we get ourselves into a situation where we overpromise, underdeliver, or again, we just don't want to do something and we fall short of it. So keep your promises, be authentic, be transparent, ask questions, unconditional love. All of these things will help this go out the door. So it's a learning month, but these are the lessons that the devil's going to teach us basically, is to love unconditionally, to be honest, and to be accountable. Those three things pretty much will get that energy out of there. Okay? So hopefully I helped. This is interesting that it showed up in Rising and Ascendant. This is how you're showing up to others. And this is where you want to work. So people are looking at you and they're wondering, can they trust you? So what you want to do is to show your accountability, your trust. There could also be a question of where you stand. That's the Judgment card. So I would say being more communicative, more outspoken, and really being accountable will help in that area. So there could also be a need for you to get out of a place where they are putting you in. I hadn't even thought of this. Someone may be typecasting you, because I'm not seeing this energy in the spread. So I was typecast when I was in first and second grade. I think kindergarten, first and second grade. I was in a school system in the Western states, not here in California, but state or two over. And they were terrible teachers, and it was a bad school system. And they just basically made me out to be like a trouble kid, and they put me into. I was bored. Long story short, I wasn't engaged. And once I went into a school that was a little bit more difficult, all of a sudden I started to excel. So I was bored and I would goof off a little bit. But they put me into detention every single day. And I couldn't go to recess because I ran in the hall. So I never got to go to recess. I had to stay after school every day. And they told my parents that I would never graduate any school. I'd be lucky to get through high school. So I was typecast and I had to go to a different place to be respected and encouraged, and I blossomed when I went into the third grade. So if someone's typecasting you, get out of there. You deserve something better. Okay? Don't let them put that mask on you, because it is a mask in this particular deck. So someone's putting that on you and trying to make it about you, and it's probably about them. Okay? Last piece on that. All right, so let's go ahead to the moon cards, or the moon messages, I should say. You're being asked to clarify. So we have a bunch of like little knickknacks. With ravens, they collect things. Sometimes they give them as gifts, right, to you if you feed them or whatever. But anyway, sometimes there's junk and there's clouded energy around them. And of course, even the nest itself would represent that sort of web of energy. So one thing that I'm seeing for you this month is, where do you stand? What do you want? What is it you're looking for? People really want to know that from you, and the clearer you are, the more they can show up for you, because the moon sign is going to also travel into relationships. and they want to get to know other parts of you and your life. So if you're willing and ready to let people in, that's going to help embolden the relationship and help you get further along the path. Okay? So clarity and decisiveness and discernment is really the message for the moon sign. All right. So that brings us, folks, to the final portion for today. There are 3 components to this. We're going to do a meditation together, and then we'll do a sound bath, and then we'll take a look at the final card. Before we do any of that, whatever your final question for me is, it could be like that one that was thrown out in chat, like what if this is me, or what should I do about this? It can be yes, no, or look into something, or it can be kind of like just show me what I need to know. Whatever your question is, I want you to think about it so that when we get to that final card, you can kind of like boom it out to the universe and I can read it. For now, let's focus on actually a couple quick notes here. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe so you never miss a future video. You can follow me on social media if you haven't already. Thank you for those that have. Always be smart about direct messaging, knowing that I don't use it. Thank you also to those that gave me super stickers and super chat. We'll acknowledge that later. All right, meditation time. We're going to use, obviously, the volcano that I looked at earlier. Okay, so it doesn't have to be the specific one on the big island of Hawaii, Mauna Loa or whatever, but we can focus instead on just any volcano. I like that one, though, and I think it would be good to have one that faces the ocean. So I know that there are other ones in like Iceland, depending on where you live. So if you can think of one where it meets the ocean, that's ideal, because I like the creative force and the combination of fire and water. Okay, so see yourself either in the Hawaiian island chains, or maybe in Iceland, or maybe in a different part of the world where volcanic activity meets the water, and close your eyes and see yourself being in a protected space. You're just far enough away from this that you can witness it, but you're safe. As you ground yourself on the lava, like the dried lava rocks, you feel this sense of being very firm, very connected, and you see how quickly things can be built. So as you gaze your sort of focus into the distance here, you can see the point at which the ocean waves rise up and crash against the flow of lava. And you see all the steam, and you see literally expansion happening, not just a symbol of expansion, but this part of the world is getting bigger by the second. There's plenty of erosion in other areas, but there are places where the land is being created as we speak. So I want you to see yourself in the flow of creation, in the flow of expansion, and it helps to see that it can happen right here and right now. So the mantra for today is, I am ready to see growth and expansion in my life. That could be in the form of love, money, opportunity, or knowledge. But you could just say, I'm ready to grow and expand for my highest good. You could add on to that, I'm ready to receive love, abundance, and opportunity in the highest form. I'm ready to expand and receive knowledge and information for my highest good. I'm ready to receive love and abundance in the highest forms. Repeat that mantra and focus on the expansive energy, listening to the sound of the steam, looking at the red lava as it cools down and becomes solid land, and feeling this sort of, it's almost like an honor to watch the birth of something new, okay? So also, if you want to birth something, seeing this helps you feel like you're one step closer to creation. Release any final thoughts or energy that might be coming through at this point, allowing yourself now to be a receptive vessel, imagining that you are like a big sort of satellite dish ready to receive, as we said earlier, love, abundance, and insight in the highest forms. This is your chance to see things. This is your chance to receive things. Gently open your eyes if you haven't already. Take your hands together, rub them quickly, put the left hand on the heart, the right hand on top of that, and allow yourself now to focus on the question that you had for me. What is it that you are seeking guidance in? Let's take a look and see what the message is. I'm glad you guys like the sound. Yeah, the acoustics changed. It's much better. Like there's not any echo or reverberation. This is a smaller space. I also have some open doors, so I'm speaking out, and the sound is captured better here. I'll work on figuring out the angle of the cameras and all of that as I get used to the space. But glad you like it. I miss the big ceilings, but it's not safe. That's what my guide showed me when it comes to rainy season. So anyway, back to your card. Your final card today is the Queen of Wands in reverse. This Queen of Wands energy is actually quite positive. As you know, it's my favorite court card. The message with the Queen of Wands in reverse is to not overthink and to, again, I was talking about sort of being the satellite dish and staying open. So being receptive to a different approach, a different method, a different way of doing something. You're being asked to step out of your comfort zone. It's going to be advantageous when you decide to do that. And we see this sort of like flame here. It's almost like they're holding the flame in their hands. And so what you're being asked to do is to sort of like take that spark that we looked at earlier and nurture it, build upon it, continue to breathe life and energy into it. So Queen of Wands is capable of doing anything that she sets her mind to. There's a time and place to be stubborn, and there's a time and place to be open. So defend ideas that deserve to be defended, be open to constructive feedback, and take the lead. That's what this card is saying. As a yes, no, it's a yes. And it's a yes with an exclamation point because it's one of the most powerful cards in tarot, specifically in can I do this, or will I be able to do this on my own? But leadership and feedback and the ability to kind of like give back, all of those things are really important. Okay, great. All right, let's go ahead now and wrap this up for today. And thank you so much for being supportive, especially I've been moving and changing environments so much. It's been an interesting year. So lots and lots of movements and shifts for me. So I appreciate you being along for the journey as well. All right, time to say thank you. So I'd like to first of all say thanks to everybody that has made the last milestone possible, that has been with me for whether it's several months or several years. I appreciate it. So thank you for making this all possible, because I couldn't do it without you. It's your support that allows me to show up every single day and every single week. All right, for the newest members, I want to say some gratitude for anybody that joined in the last day, and then we'll call out all the Super Chat and Super members, or Super Chat and Super Stickers. Members first. Okay, Sean Pixar, I think I saw you join just around the beginning. Thank you so much for becoming a channel member. Rejoining after 6 months, I should say. Much appreciated. Just Jots, rejoining after 5 months. Acufacial Admin, Rose Johnson, Margaret Jean, Rachel Wilson Coda, Yvonne Peterson, Megan Eckel, Sathalaya Singh, I think it is. This next one's a little harder. I think it's Shweta. And then let's see, Ida Vituli, Thivya Nandakumar, Jessica Delgado, KB, Jess, Martha Lee, and I think all of those are within the past few days. So if I missed any from yesterday's Q&A or anything recently, I just called them all out here at the beginning of the month. So thank you so much. All right, for Super Stickers, let's see who participated today. All right, Super Chat and Super Stickers. We have 3 folks, so thank you so much. April Rain, twice in a row. Wow, you're amazing. Thank you so much, and those were big contributions. And same thing, thank you, Amitabha, as well. I appreciate you. But thank you guys for making this possible, for making the move here possible, and supporting me as I continue to do all of this for you. Like I said, in the fall, one of the things that I hope to launch is the podcast, and I was trying to find the right space. The space feels a little bit better. There's less reverb. I think I could do it from here. So more fun stuff to come on the channel. All right, everyone, take care of yourselves. Lots of love and light. I'm going to go take that little guy out for a walk. He's starting to wake up. We'll bring him up here at the end and then send you off to your day. Let's say goodbye to everybody. We'll go get you some food, buddy. Yes. All right, so from Apollo and I, we wish you all the best. Lots of love and light. You guys have a great day. Make it a great day, okay? And I'll see you again on, Sunday for the collective. And then, as you know, every Monday, Thursday, and Friday. All right, take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.